The 2012 edition of WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is going to be coming our way live from the Phillips Arena in hot Atlanta, Georgia, only on pay-per-view. What better way to get ready for Sunday's October 28th event than by checking out this special edition of the RCWR Show. Yours truly is going to be offering match predictions on who I feel will be walking away victorious at Sunday's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It's the RCWR Show, and it begins right now.
Hold one, arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
hold two, arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hold three, the moss-covered, three-handle family Gradunzel.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And we welcome you to the RCWR Show, Call That Match Special, offering match predictions for Sunday's WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Earlier this week, we had celebrated a historic milestone, as this past Tuesday night was our 100th episode of the RCWR Show, and we kicked it off in style, folks, as I was joined by the lovely co-producer Tammy, wrestling sensation, the famous Justin Reno, and Christian hip-hop artist Scooter. We got into a great roundtable discussion talking about Sunday's fourth installment of Hell in a Cell, and also got into very serious talk about what could we expect from the Ryback versus CM Punk inside that Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship, as we were all trying to offer insight as far as what to expect the finish to be with that match. We also gave match predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view, all while stressing concern of how this Sunday's pay-per-view needs to be a success, as history has shown with the past three installments of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view to be unsuccessful as buy rates continue to be on a decline. We also talked about the lack in depth that is coming from Sunday, as the match card does not look that impressive right now and is missing several key people, one of which is Dolph Ziggler, who is highlighted in this. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to rewind it back for you guys just this past Tuesday night and give you guys a taste of what all you might have missed on that 100th episode, as we all started talking about WWE Hell in a Cell. Let's go back to this past Tuesday night on the 100th episode of the RCWR Show, talking about Hell in a Cell. You said all we wanted to say about Ryback. I want to start with you, Justin. Just seeing this guy, hearing about his upbringing, how he was at the Plan and OVW, 30 years old, and he is really facing a lot come this Sunday. What's been your thoughts of Ryback so far?
Well, I think putting him in the WWE title match in the main event of a pay-per-view is way, way, way too fast. And putting him in this situation, it's a lose-lose situation, because Punk can't lose and Ryback can't lose. You know, either, and it's in a Hell in a Cell, so you can't do a DQ or you can't do something with Heyman. It's I don't know. They rushed it like ridiculous. And I think the only logical thing they could do, not bury anyone, is I think we're going to see Brock Lesnar on Sunday.
Really? And now, despite the way his contract is set up right now, because you know they're in those, I think they're in those final hand select few of dates that he can do. You could actually see a Brock Lesnar popping up.
Well, what else are they going to do? I don't see they've put themselves in a corner with this match. I don't think there's any finish that they could do, without Lesnar coming in that would be satisfying, because if Ryback wins the title, what are we going to have, Ryback versus The Rock in January? Who cares? Ryback's brand new. That doesn't do anything for anybody.
Right.
And at the same time, Ryback can't lose clean because, his whole push right now is based on the streak, and he's still pretty new. His streak is only a couple months old. Yeah. The only way to end it, I think, is to have Brock Lesnar come in and save CM Punk.
Scooter, chime in, man.
Well, what's going on with Ryback right now? Like he was saying, I also do think it's very early that they're throwing him in the title shot, the title hunt. What Ryback reminds me of Bobby Lashley, the strength and everything that he had and everything like that, and it was for nothing really. He never really, they never really did anything. Yeah, sure, he was dominated a few matches, but it was really, worthless, honestly, and I think that's kind of the route they're going with Ryback. Sunday, I necessarily don't think, I don't think Brock Lesnar will come back, but I do think that there will be something that a big swerve. Maybe even John Cena might come out, and and even if Ryback does win, I think me personally, I think Ryback will win Sunday and lose it the next night.
Really?
It will be something that happens. It will be something that happens on Raw to where it was stripped. He'll be stripped of it, or it'll just be a rematch, and then CM Punk cheats to win, or something. I mean, if they do put it on him, because I don't think they're gonna let CM Punk win clean. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can win clean in the Hell in a Cell anyway. That's open door for anybody to enter anyway. So, I don't know. I just think if he does win, he's gonna lose it Monday night on Raw. Something, they're gonna build up. They're gonna build that on Monday to have people tune in, and then something dramatic will happen. Especially with this little allegation thing going on with John Cena. So, you never know. I believe he'll pop up in the match. Somehow, some way, John Cena is going to pop up in the match.
One idea that we had talked about over the weekend, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Either one of you guys could just jump on in there. We have this idea of, for the first time in WWE history, for the first time in a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view history, we just see the WWE champion, CM Punk. He could be the perfect guy for this. Great way to build a ton of heat. He could just sit up, beat the crap out of Ryback in a backstage segment, which creates that doubt that Ryback may not be able to have this match with Punk, and that's just going to be the running gag throughout the whole night. And to play off what you said, Scooter, we can actually see maybe John Cena lurking around there, who did say that he was medically cleared on this past Monday night's Raw, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to get into the match, or so we think. Again, the running gag is, will Ryback be able to compete against CM Punk? Now, one scenario I put out there was, we do see Ryback, they have the match, CM Punk is just dominating, but then Ryback starts coming back on the offense. Looks like Punk is about to lose that WWE title. He tries to just take his belt. Somehow he manages to exit the cage, as that's what needs to happen in a Hell in a Cell match. You got to have the fight go outside of the cage, create more buzz. We can see him try to take off to the back. The WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, he'll pop up. Maybe he's with John Cena, a couple other guys. They're trying to make sure John Cena doesn't leave that route. They try to make him go back into the ring. He fights a little bit more. Let's play off of what CM Punk had did with the fan a couple of weeks back, as he was really being a victim of bullying. If there was ever a time to make a stand and say, don't be a bully, be a star, it's what had happened with Punk there a couple of weeks back. And we could just see him just throw elbows and punches to some random fans in the crowd to basically leave the arena that way with his WWE Championship, and have a ton of people in attendance, those that ordered the pay-per-view, go, WTF. Now, here's the question. Could you entertain that thought? Will you be cool with a finish like that? Or would you say as a consumer, you know what, I'm not paying the $40, $50, $60 to see the main event match end like this. I need to see at least a controversial retain by some weird person popping up or something.
My opinion. Sorry. My opinion is, you know, they got to do something like that, and it's not that people aren't going to buy the pay-per-view. It's that people are going to pay for the pay-per-view, and then they're going to see a finish like that, and it's going to piss them off, and then they're not going to get the next pay-per-view, and they're not going to get the next pay-per-view. You know, all they're going to do, they're doing a bait and switch, or if they do something like that, it's just going to piss off the people who do buy the show. And, you know, that's it.
Scooter, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with that. Yes, if people just won't, you know, buy into the next pay-per-view. But then again, you know, WWE is all about controversy now. Ever since they've gone into the PG era, of course, it's been watered down a million times, just like watching Teletubbies sometimes. You know, especially with the Kane and Daniel Bryan segments and stuff. But I think the PG era has brought a lot of controversy, especially now since last year CM Punk had the summer of CM Punk or what have you. Ever since then, they've done something controversial, something where it seems like it's real, but then it'll end up being scripted later, or it'll be a real situation and they'll just put it into a script. So I think something very controversial might happen to where there's not a clear winner. But, you know, then again, it might mess up other pay-per-views, or it might not mess up other pay-per-views. It just might, you know. But I think they messed themselves up for this pay-per-view Sunday. I don't even know if this Sunday's pay-per-view is going to be very good, because they didn't really play off of it Monday. You know, I didn't even know it was a pay-per-view. If I wasn't a good wrestling fan, I wouldn't even know it was a pay-per-view this Sunday. Except for like 2 or 3 times they mentioned it. They didn't really sell the pay-per-view anyway, so.
You know, and let's talk about that. Let's pick you guys' brains. You know, let's go round table here. You know, we got this pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, and I had actually took the liberty of doing a little bit of research as we were gearing up for this episode, and I just said to myself, I wonder how the pay-per-view buy rates have been for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, surprisingly, some of you all that's newer WWE fans, you may not be aware of this, but come this Sunday, this will be the 4th installment of WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, just the standalone pay-per-view itself. I took a look at the pay-per-view buy rates, and I must admit, I was a little bit surprised at what I had saw, as I believe the first Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it had like over 280,000 buy rates, and then the next year it sunk down to like low 200,000s, and then the year after that it was like 183,000. So you're looking at that significant drop, and you're saying to yourself, okay, could this pay-per-view maybe break that trend and get the buy rates back up? But then when you look at the card, guys, you look at the card for this Sunday, there really is not that much depth. I mean, look at this real quick, guys. We got, as we just mentioned earlier, CM Punk versus Ryback for the WWE Championship inside of Hell in a Cell. We got Kofi Kingston taking on The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. We got Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio, just a regular singles match. We have Team Hell No, which consists of Kane and Daniel Bryan taking on Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow. We got Sheamus versus The Big Show. Now, as of this time at 10:38 p.m. on October 23rd, we still have not found out what's going to be the YouTube pre-show, something that's a first, as usually they have it announced by now. So right now, we're only going with 5 matches. Would you guys agree, after hearing this card, there is no depth, and not only is there no depth, you're missing some names in here.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and bottom line, if I can, Hell in a Cell is not really anything without the Undertaker anyway. I mean, it's not really a pay-per-view without the Undertaker. That's his match with the exception of probably Triple H. But that's his match. So I don't know. I mean, I'm amped because I am a WWE fan, so I'm amped about every pay-per-view. But it's just something about this pay-per-view, and recently a lot of the pay-per-views lately have just not been really, grasping. I mean, it's not really been a pay-per-view that I need to have this. It's just something that, like, well, I guess I was gonna buy some shoes, might as well watch, pay-per-view. It's not really something that I really need to see.
Oh God. Go ahead, y'all feed into that. Go ahead, next person. Go ahead, jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Hell in a Cell being a standalone pay-per-view, I think the reason why it's not successful is because you can't just name a pay-per-view after a stipulation match and then, just randomly have that match. There has to be a reason for a Hell in a Cell match. You don't just Punk and Ryback. This is going to be their first match. What they're going to have? They're going to have more matches. What are they going to do that's going to top this? This should be the end of the feud and a Hell in a Cell match. You don't start having your first match in a Hell in a Cell. There's nowhere to go from there. Yeah. And this pay-per-view, looking at, I got the card in front of me right now.
Yeah.
I actually ordered Bound for Glory this month. There's no way in hell I'm spending money on this pay-per-view. It looks terrible. There's rematches. There's Sheamus versus Big Show. Do you care? I don't. Randy Orton is so Randy Orton has lost all momentum since the suspension. It's not fun.
Now, guys, look at that card there, though. There's one name that is missing, and it's a big name, I think, that just kind of makes you wonder, will Sunday night be his night? He guaranteed it. Could Sunday night be the night that Dolph Ziggler cashes in that Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new World Heavyweight Champion? Let's go around the table here. Lovely co-producer Tammy, let's start with you, and then we'll just go around.
Well, that would definitely be the interruption to, for Punk and, sorry, I'm hitting trying in the middle place, but CM Punk and our friend Ryback. But I don't know. I guess they're having him hold on to that case for something. I mean, he's definitely got the skill, level to match up with the two of them.
So wait, but I'm saying, could you see Sunday night be the night that Dolph Ziggler cashes in that World Heavyweight Championship? Because remember, he would be interfering there. Between the match between Sheamus and the Big Show. Did you see something like that happening, or at this point he'd be stealing a lot of thunder from the CM Punk Ryback match?
I honestly see more of CM Punk and Ryback.
You think that would steal the show?
I don't know about steal the show, but definitely an interruption to the show. We're looking at, what we were talking about as far as, Justin saying, that the Hell in the Cell should be the end to the story, not the beginning. And then you have other people saying, it's really too soon for Ryback at this point. And
no, Ryback. Hang on. Tammy, I love you, hon. We're not talking about Ryback here. I'm talking about, here's the thing. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. I'm talking about this pay-per-view. I'm looking at it. Justin's looking at it. Scooter's looking at it. We all agree this pay-per-view right now, it doesn't have that, come up out your pockets and order this pay-per-view because it's going to be the bomb. It's not giving you that right now. Now, we all can agree this pay-per-view, it needs all the help it can get as far as shock value. There's one name that I had looked at, and I was looking at this card as early as Friday night. And I say, you know what, Dolph Ziggler is not on this card. Now, it's taking in mind what he just said this past Monday night, guaranteeing that he's going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase at Sunday's pay-per-view to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, thus meaning he's going to interfere in that Big Show Sheamus match. Most likely he's going to wait until probably Sheamus. I don't see Big Show getting it, but I see Sheamus retaining. and then that's when Dolph Ziggler is going to strike. Would that satisfy you as that WWE casual pay-per-view buyer and saying, you know what, Dolph Ziggler did the unthinkable, this was actually a pretty solid, do you think it would help sell you more into wanting to check out the pay-per-view, just that idea that Ziggler could cash in the briefcase?
Sure, it gives you the ultimate surprise.
Scooter?
Yeah. I mean, I see that. Here's a funny thing that I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I've noticed every time Big Show is in a championship match, somebody has a Money in the Bank briefcase and is ready to cash it in on them. Like, it never fails. Whenever Big Show's in a title match, somebody has a briefcase to cash in. It was Daniel Bryan the last time. I forget who else it was before then, but every time, that always happens. Now, Dolph Ziggler has said that he's going to cash it in Sunday, but what will be the funnest part, and this will probably be the only reason why I would really like the pay-per-view, just because of Dolph Ziggler. Vicky Guerrero is now running Raw. She's his manager. So the biggest swerve of the night could be him cashing it in on the Ryback and CM Punk match. It's the Money in the Bank briefcase. It entitles him to a championship match whenever he wants, at any time, So that would be a big swerve, and it probably could happen simply because Vicky Guerrero is running the show. She's not necessarily running SmackDown, and, of course, that would give them both power over Raw and SmackDown. But, I would not, because he says he's going to steal the show, I wouldn't put it past them to cash it in on the CM Punk and Ryback match.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's simply because Vicky Guerrero is running the show. And that's we all know that's his cougar. Yeah. So, I think Dolph Ziggler will steal the show, just like he said, and just like his merchandise says. I believe he will steal the show, whether it be on the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship. I believe it'll be something very spectacular, to where it'll be the night of the birth of Dolph Ziggler.
Justin, your thoughts, bro?
I think that sounds really good. I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you bring up Dolph Ziggler, it makes me think that the best situation is, after, during or after the Sheamus Big Show match, he'll come out, attempt to cash it in, and he'll eat a big move and cower away like everyone does when they're almost going to cash in. Yeah. And then later, if he came out and did it, again during the CM Punk Ryback match, I think that would really set it over and make the people who buy the show. If that's what happens, people who buy the show are going to say, "Wow!" They're going to say that was a great show, and I need to get the next show.
Right.
So yeah, that's. I wasn't even thinking about Ziggler like that. So
let's quickly run down the card here. I want you guys to officially give your picks for Sunday's winners here, okay? Sheamus versus Big Show. Who you all got for that one?
Sheamus.
Sheamus.
I'm gonna be the eyeball. I'll go with Big Show.
Now let me ask you guys this question. The second part to that: do you see Dolph Ziggler come out to become the new champion?
No.
Okay. All right, Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Team Rhodes Scholars for the tag titles. Who you got?
No one cares. No, I mean, I guess I would guess Team Rhodes Scholars. No, actually, I would say Team Hell No. Going back to how WWE does swerves and everything, it looks like they're very dysfunctional, but the way that they're dysfunctional always helps them win. So I would say they'll keep it on them for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think Team Hell No is a hot act right now. I think they're going to keep that going.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Tammy, you're for Team Hell No as well?
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rose Scholars really have some great momentum, but I still see Hell No pulling it out.
It's a match where you all pretty much said you don't care about certain guys in this match, but unfortunately we got to pick a winner right here. They're both really annoying as hell. Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio.
Well, I go with the less annoying and say Randy Orton.
I'm gonna go with Alberto. I think right now, as far as backstage, Randy Orton's just like horrible. He's just very horrible backstage, and I just really think Alberto. They're gonna play off of Alberto and eventually do something with him. I don't think they're gonna really do too much with Randy Orton. And if Randy Orton, and the only way I think Alberto is going to win is by disqualification.
It's so hard to pick a winner when you really don't care even 1% who wins. I don't know. I'm going to say Del Rio. Randy Orton he's done everything that there is to do in the company. There's nothing for him to do. The only thing he needs to do is take a break.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to save the main event one for last. Let's go with Kofi Kingston versus Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. This should be unanimous right here.
Kingston, obviously.
Yeah, Kingston.
Yeah, Kingston.
All right. I'll go on record, too, Kingston. All right. The main event match for the WWE Championship inside a Hell in a Cell. And we're now getting word. It's so funny, a difference 24 hours can make. Originally, there were 2 Hell in a Cell matches, but now it's just going to be one, and that's going to be CM Punk versus Ryback again for the WWE Championship. Who y'all got?
I'm going to say CM Punk's going to come out with the belt. Unless Dolph Ziggler's in there. No, you know what? I'm going to say CM Punk either way.
Okay.
You going with CM Punk? Yeah, I think Dolph Ziggler is going to be thrown in there. But ultimately, I'm going to say CM Punk.
Okay, so we got 2 CM Punks. Tammy.
Yeah, I do see Dolph Ziggler being thrown in there, but I have a feeling CM Punk's going to retain.
3 CM Punks. Wow. Well, I'll join the flock. CM Punk. I'm tempted to say Ryback, because
I really do think John Cena and Ziggler are going to be thrown in there some way. I mean, if John Cena's just going to be out there, the pink Power Ranger cheerleader, if he's going to be doing something like that, or and Dolph Ziggler just coming out.
If John Cena's in there, he better turn heel.
Wow.
I don't think. If he doesn't turn heel, then I don't want to see him in that match. He doesn't need to be in that match unless he does something big like that.
Special thanks to the lovely co-producer Tammy, Justin Reno, and Scooter for that great roundtable discussion. And folks, if you had missed the 100th episode of the RCWR show from this past Tuesday night, I highly recommend that you go check it out right when you're done listening to this. As of all the episodes we have put out over these past several months, that episode on Tuesday night is hands down the best episode that we have done to date. It was a really great episode. We really just talked all things wrestling. We went all over the place on all things wrestling. Really great roundtable discussion right there with all of those guys. It was truly a phenomenal episode. And it was actually selected as Blog Talk Radio staff picks of that night, and it had quickly became a overnight sensation as it was the most listened to and downloaded episode that we have put out so far. And for that, we thank you, the listeners and loyal listeners, for making that possible. In case you might have missed that 100th episode, be sure to check it out right now in our archive section on blogtalkradio.com/TheRCWRShow. Also available on all your portable devices in the iTunes, Zoom marketplaces by using the keywords The RCWR Show. Also up on Stitcher as well. Mad shout out to our Stitcher audience. We're going to take a very brief commercial break right now, but then when we come right back, I'll be offering my match predictions for Sunday's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and we'll also get you guys caught up on the very latest update of the Hell in a Cell card. That's right, there's been some new development for Sunday's card. It's changed a little bit. We'll let you know where those changes are. We'll be coming right back, folks. You're checking out the RCWR Show. Call that match special. We'll be coming right back. Do hang tight. Hey guys, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders here, and I just wanted to take this time out to thank you for checking out this episode tonight. And you know, if you liked what you had heard tonight and you want more, then be sure to check us out every single Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on this website at blogtalkradio.com. Also on our sister website at infinityoneproductions.com, where every single week you'll be able to get that wrestling fix, as we'll give you guys the latest fallout from Monday's WWE Raw, share with you the reviews, honest analysis, no BS, no fluff, just what you want when you need it most, and we'll also get you guys caught up on the very latest in WWE wrestling related headlines and so much more. And the best part about all this is that every single week we will be sharing with you all live fan reactions, as we want to hear from you, whether it is in our active chat room or you're interacting with us as we are live in progress by hitting us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, Facebook at InfinityOneProductions.com. We give you the necessary tools that's necessary to be able to interact with us each and every single week. For those of you that like to call into the show, hey, guess what? You'll be able to do that as well. This is the show that is for you, the wrestling fans, to be able to share your thoughts, your reactions, your likes, dislikes to what you had saw from Raw this past Monday night, or whatever's got you talking as far as wrestling related news. So be sure to check us out every single Tuesday night, as it's our Tuesday night wrestling report edition of the RCWR Show at 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on blogtalkradio.com/TheRCWR Show, and at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. Hey, you're gonna miss our episode that's live in progress, won't be able to catch up with it until later. That's not a problem. Check us out on the downloads in the iTunes, Zune marketplaces, also on Stitcher, just by using the keywords The RCWR Show. The Black Avenger, Lee Sanders here, and you're listening to the RCWR Show, coming at you right now on blogtalkradio.com and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com, also heard on Stitcher. Thank those of you that are checking out this episode right now. Feel free to interact with us right now during the course of this episode, as we have the chat room that is open right now. You can also interact with us on Twitter and on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. You can hit us up on Twitter at Infinity One Prod. So we have the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that's going to be coming up this Sunday, and it looks to be a very solid card. Right now, a rather decent card, but it is lacking in depth, I feel. Over the course of this special episode, I'm going to be offering my match predictions and really give you great insight onto whether or not this Sunday's pay-per-view will be a success or if it'll be a failure, as history has shown so far that Hell in a Cell has been losing momentum year after year after year. It's going to be a very interesting topic as we dive into match predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view. So without any further ado, folks, let's go on ahead and let's jump right into it. So we have a grand total of 5 matches that's going to be happening at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, as of this time, and we are just coming fresh off of the events that had took place on Monday Night's Raw, we are going with the card as we are looking at it right now. So far, there has not been a YouTube pre-show that has been announced. Now, keeping that in mind, this is why that we only have 5 matches right now. As it goes as follows, we see that Sheamus will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against The Big Show. Kane and Daniel Bryan, aka Team Hell No, will be taking on the team of the Rhodes Scholars, which consist of Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. And again, that's going to be for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Randy Orton will be taking on Alberto Del Rio in a singles match. CM Punk will be taking on Ryback inside a Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston will be taking on The Miz, as it'll be a singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Once again, when you hear these names, there really is not that much depth that is in this pay-per-view. And again, we'll be talking about that a little bit more during the course of this episode. But for now, let's go on ahead and let's pick out who could possibly be walking away victorious from Sunday's pay-per-view. Now, as I highlighted momentarily ago, we have a situation right here where, as of this recording, there is not a YouTube pre-show. Now, I would expect that to change come perhaps maybe this Wednesday on WWE's main event, as seen on the Ion channel. I would not be surprised if maybe something had came a little bit sooner before that, but I would think that WWE's main event would be the latest that we would probably hear a YouTube pre-show match be announced. Now, I am just looking at what all has been happening on the Raw and SmackDown brands within recent week, and the one thing that jumped out at me was Antonio Cesaro. Now, he really has seemed, to me at least, been struggling a bit ever since he had branched away from Asuka, and now he's cutting all these nice promos. They could use a little bit of work, but the promos that he's been cutting, it's been a nice little throwback to what you would see in the AWA or what you would see in classic WCW. I like what they have him doing as he's going around different places wearing his little nice suits, has the championship belt around his shoulders, and he's just cutting a promo. But he really needs to continue to shine in the ring, as really that's where he just burns the brightest, is in that ring. Still has a long ways to go for his mic work, but in the ring, the guy is amazing. The man is somebody that you can just watch and really come off feeling entertained. So keeping that in mind, I think you guys see where I'm going with this, as I would like to see Antonio Cesaro in a YouTube pre-show match. I think that the encounter that he had with Justin Gabriel the past 2 episodes of Raw, I think these guys, they had some phenomenal matches, especially with what we had just saw this past Monday night's Raw, as Justin Gabriel pulled a upset and getting a victory over Cesaro. So for me personally, it really makes sense to see Cesaro defend that United States Championship against Justin Gabriel for the YouTube pre-show. Now, if that does not happen, then I'm not really sure what to make of it, but I would suspect that Antonio Cesaro will be making an appearance at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. If not in a pre-show match, then he should at least be popping up on the actual pay-per-view itself. But I'm leaning more towards the pre-show right now. Just seems to make a lot of sense in either case. Even if it is not going to be against Justin Gabriel, I see Antonio Cesaro defending that United States Championship and, of course, picking up the retain. So Antonio Cesaro will continue to remain the United States champion. Now let's go to the actual pay-per-view itself, folks. So the first match that I definitely want to tackle right now is the Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio. Now Randy Orton, he has not been seen in recent weeks as he's off doing the finishing touches for the 12-round sequel that's going to be coming up shortly, a direct release to DVD, I would think, from WWE Films. We see the great little rivalry that Randy Orton and Alberto have been having within recent weeks, where it has culminated in Alberto Del Rio mocking the hell out of Randy Orton, mocking the way he talks, mocking the way he gestures himself in the ring, even mocking him as far as his finisher, the fist pumping into the canvas. I mean, we have really just seen these two guys just go back and forth in recent weeks. Now, I want to just look at things from Alberto Del Rio's side from a moment right here. Now, I'm looking at Alberto Del Rio and I'm saying to myself, man, Alberto Del Rio, you had those series of months where Del Rio was just getting a loss after loss after loss to the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus. And you just said to yourself, is Alberto Del Rio ever gonna finally get a break? What is the point of having him just continue to be taking on Sheamus? A lot of wrestling fans were venting their frustrations. They wanted to see a new rivalry. They wanted to see Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus, respectively, move on to something better. Now, unfortunately, Alberto Del Rio, he got the better end of the stick as opposed to Sheamus, because Alberto Del Rio, he's been working a very awesome feud with Randy Orton, I feel, and it's been one of those type of scenarios where you actually can't help but kind of root for Alberto Del Rio. At least that's how I'm looking at it when I'm looking at this particular match on paper. I'm keeping in mind all those months that Alberto Del Rio has been buried, and I'm saying to myself right now, if I were booking this, just how exactly would I have this match play out? And it's good that I am going to put myself in the shoes of the booker for the rest of these matches, as that's what's really fun about this special, is trying to predict how the outcome of these matches will play out, determine who's going to be the winners. And with this particular match right here, I'm looking at it on paper. If I were booking this right, I would actually have Alberto Del Rio go over Randy Orton. Alberto Del Rio, he needs a little bit of something in his stock right now, I feel. He did all those months jobbing to Sheamus. I want to see Alberto Del Rio to continue to look strong. I want to see him continue to look legitimate. and really have some type of valid claim to be able to say, hey, I should be able to get a shot at the World Heavyweight Champion or the WWE Champion. I kind of still want to see Alberto Del Rio be kept in that talk of championship belts. So to see Alberto Del Rio pick up a loss at the hands of Randy Orton, I just honestly feel it really would just hurt his morale, and I really just could not see any other way that Alberto Del Rio could continue forward and move on to bigger things. If they do this right, I could actually see Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio taking this for another 2 months. So for this first encounter right here between these two men, a little bit of a throwback to an old rivalry that kind of has been reignited and pushed further, I feel. I got Alberto Del Rio doing first strike. He needs this first strike. He has to pick up a win over Randy Orton, and then they could just continue their feud, just keep going back and forth. Maybe Randy Orton can get the next win, but for Hell in a Cell this Sunday, I got to go with Alberto Del Rio. I would just really be coming away this Sunday seeing Alberto Del Rio lose to Randy Orton. I would just really look at that as a major sign that WWE could be perhaps done with him as far as being one of those main event guys and a future WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. Just keeping in mind how many times he dropped to Sheamus. That's really the main reason why I am going with this. And he's sort of become a bit interesting again, I feel. Let's move on with our next match now, which sees the Intercontinental Championship on the line as Kofi Kingston will be defending it against The Miz. That's right, newly crowned Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Correction, not The Miz. Look at me here, I'm already jumping the gun, but no. I was trying to say, folks, new Intercontinental Champion Kofi Kingston, who had won the Intercontinental title back on Raw in October 15th. He's had the championship belt now for almost a week and a half, and already he is making an appearance as the new Intercontinental Champion at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. You're looking at this, and I would have to honestly tell you folks out there, if you are looking to bet against Kofi Kingston, you are going to be losing some serious money, folks. Let me tell you, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why. There is no way The Miz will be able to regain his Intercontinental Championship. Now, I know for hardcore Miz fans out there, you may take what I've just said and you may look at that as a sign of, oh, you just like Kofi, Miz is the way to go, Miz is the man. I can totally dig where you're coming from, but I don't want you thinking like that right now. Instead, what I want you to think of is what all we have seen The Miz involved in within recent weeks. But more in particular, I want you to think back to what all we had saw on Raw last week, as we had saw Kofi Kingston defeat Miz in a warm-up match on Raw. Then you follow that up on Wednesday's WWE main event, where Kofi Kingston had beat Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, you go forward. We ended up seeing The Miz lose to Randy Orton. After that, we had saw The Miz lose to Ryback just this past Monday night. So The Miz has been on one bad streak within recent weeks. It seemed like he was on the rise there when he had first came back and he got done filming that new movie, The Marine. And he shortly thereafter got the Intercontinental Championship. Really was not defending it, the 3 months that he was Intercontinental Champion? He only had probably one title defense, and that was in a fatal 4-way match where he had beat Sin Cara, Rey Mysterio, Cody, Rhodes. But after that, he really wasn't doing that much of anything. He almost kind of came off there as a transitional type of champion. Now, some people may disagree with that because they'll quickly point out, hey, he held the championship for about 3 months. That really doesn't count for being transitional. I can appreciate that argument, but I'm really just going out there on a limb and saying he was really just being a transitional champion and just holding the belt for somebody else. And I am just looking at what's happening with The Miz right here. I don't know if he has pissed somebody off in upper WWE management, creative, or if maybe Miz has gotten back that notorious reputation for having everything just go to his head and he thinks he's just all that. And maybe this is why he's been put in this role of a funk within the past couple of weeks. But I don't see it changing anytime soon. I'm keeping everything that I just said to you guys in mind here. And unfortunately, as much as I love The Miz, and as much as I think he's awesome, I'm sorry, Miz is not going to get back his Intercontinental Championship against Kofi Kingston. It's going to be a retain for Kofi. Kofi right now, he just seems to finally start having everything be grouped together. Everything's finally starting to come along. There was that brief period of time there, well, a long time actually, folks, where we saw Kofi Kingston just keep teaming up with people left and right. Really wasn't that much going out there in singles competition. And the few times that he was going out there, nothing really relevant was happening. He's been a really great ambassador for the WWE, a really good representative for the WWE, I feel. Anywhere WWE needs him to go, he's there. Any type of PR work they need him to do, he's always willing to do it. You never hear anything bad about Kofi Kingston. You never hear him involved with scandalous headlines, nothing extreme. He is just one of those type of guys that always just quietly does his work, does what he needs to do. And, you know, I think this is WWE's way of kind of acknowledging his good behavior. And if Kofi Kingston does this right, folks, I mean, we really could be seeing Kofi Kingston on the rise. Now, I'm not going to jump out there and be like he's WWE or World Heavyweight Championship bound. I'm not going to be jumping out there like that, but he is on that right path to reaching that. Now, depending on how well he does as the Intercontinental Champion, it all is up to him. But if there's any indication that he is going to be without a doubt on the rise based on what we saw of his performance the past few times that he's locked up with The Miz, and I'm just thinking about how their match could possibly be at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I truly feel that they have the greatest potential to have a show stealer type of match this Sunday. Kofi Kingston, I'm looking at him for the retain. It'll be an impressive victory without a doubt. It's really nice to see Kofi Kingston moving up there. Let's move on with our next match, folks. And it brings us now to the Tag Team Championships as Team Hell No, which is Kane and Daniel Bryan, will be taking on the Team Rhodes Scholars, which consists of Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. If there was ever a time right now where a team could possibly pose a threat to Team Hell No, without a doubt, it is Team Rhodes Scholars. Now, let's think for a moment here of how things were when Damien Sandow first came into the WWE. In particular, let's think about how things were when he first came to the blue brand known as SmackDown, and just the way he was just winning folks over rather quickly. He was just winning new audiences, new loyal followers on Twitter, Facebook. He was just winning over new fans just every single week by the way he was doing his thing in the ring. Really nice throwback to wrestlers of the 80s. Many people will sit up and point out that he reminds them a little bit of Larry Poffolo. Nice little throwback there. I mean, you really can't go wrong. He's got that combination of Larry, the genius, the franchise, Shane Douglas. He's got a lot of guys just all rolled up in one, but he's even better than all of them combined. The guy's just been on a phenomenal roll in the WWE, but then all of a sudden you just notice there, wait a minute, why is he pairing up with Cody Rhodes? As within the past 2 months at least, seems like the two of these guys have formed some type of an alliance. Cody Rhodes, you go to his side of the story, of course, and Cody Rhodes, 1 minute, he is fixated on the mask of Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara. The next moment, he's interested in becoming the Intercontinental Champion. Now he's interested in being the Tag Team Champion. Cody Rhodes has just been kind of just spontaneous within recent weeks. He's not really sure what exactly he wants right here, but one thing we all can agree on, he has just been working really well chemistry-wise with Damien Sandow, and it was really a good move on WWE's part, pairing these two guys together. So you have a really great ingredients right here for both of these two respected tag teams to have a fantastic match, and that's exactly what we're going to get. Now, see, the real question that people should be asking themselves when they look at this match is which team has the better hype right now, because that's how I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this as which team has the better hype, which team has the bigger pop, which team has more of a following. And right now, I got to go with the team of Kane and Daniel Bryan. I mean, these two guys, they have just really been able to make something out of nothing. I mean, you want to talk about a odd couple. They are still white hot right now. They are still very captivating to the WWE Universe. They got the whole goat face mask thing going on for Halloween. They got Kane, who's sitting up, and probably for the first time in WWE history, Kane is actually being social, as he just created a Kane account on Twitter. You can now hit him up on WWE Kane or Kane WWE. Try one of those two, play around with it. You'll stumble right into him. So far, the only tweet that he's put out is he is the tag team champions, and that will probably still be the case come this Sunday. So I'm putting my official stamp on this match. I've got Kane and Daniel Bryan picking up a retain to remain the tag team champions. There's just no way right now, just seeing how they've just been working so well together on TV. These guys have just been having some really great, awesome segments. Now, some may feel a little bit of a bitter taste from the segment that we had saw of the two guys on this past Monday Night's Raw, where they had that newlywed tag game thing they were doing with Matt Striker. I admit that was a little silly, but it wasn't brutally bad. They could have spiced it up a little better, but still, Kane, Daniel Bryan, they've just been on a phenomenal streak. It's going to continue to remain the case. Once again, Team Hell No, I got them retaining. Let's move on now with the next match that we have on the card for Sunday's pay-per-view, which sees the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus taking on Big Show for the World Heavyweight Championship inside a Hell in a Cell. Now, we know of the story that's there leading up to these two behemoths getting it on in the ring. We know that Sheamus has been making very light of Big Show within recent weeks. We saw that horrific World Heavyweight Championship debate that did not go properly. We even saw a little bit of a throwback to Rocky IV, where we had Big Show entering some type of a scientific contest with Sheamus, and Big Show just given a strength test to just how powerful his punch is to a WMD. Kind of reminded you of that big mean Russian that Dolph Lundgren had played in Rocky IV there, where he was just able to take that little punch test machine. I was just looking at that and I said to myself, well, they took a page out of Rocky's playbook. So I mean, we have seen basically some really awkward segments between Big Show and Sheamus. I think we all can agree on that. And then within more recent weeks, it's starting to take a more serious tone as we see Sheamus just continue to try to make light of Big Show, and Big Show just remaining very cold-hearted, very calculating, very serious, letting Sheamus know to not overlook him, do not look at him as a joke. And you're looking at this match and you're saying to yourself, okay, is this match really going to be good? Because on the one hand, this will be the first time that these two guys are locking it up. But does it have the ingredients to possibly be a really good match? Now, we got those veteran WWE fans that could probably look at this match and they could probably say, you know what, I'm getting sick and tired of Big Show involved in the main event picture. He's too old. It's time for new guys to step in. It's time for new guys to get their spotlight on. Who cares about Big Show? The Big Slow, as many people like to call him. You know what? You're not going to get any arguments out of me. I think Big Show has had so many opportunities. It is ridiculous, but we got to deal with this match for what it's worth. Now, as much as I may not like the Big Show nowadays, I will admit that it will be a good match. I mean, I'm just thinking about how these two guys are just big boys, brute strength. I hope that this match can get to the point where it could get bloody. It would be nice to see the return of some blood for once. If there was ever a time to do it, this would be the right match to do it for one night only. I feel that this match is going to be very draining for both of these two guys. It's going to be very draining in a way where we could possibly see Dolph Ziggler make an appearance at this pay-per-view. Now, I am looking at this card very carefully, folks, and I am keeping in mind that as it stands right now, as of this recording, Dolph Ziggler does not have a match at Hell in a Cell, which leaves the question, will Sunday night finally be Dolph Ziggler's time to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase to finally become the World Heavyweight Champion? That is the question right here. You're looking at this. You got to admit, guys, to have Dolph Ziggler not be on the card, and I think we all can for certainty be in agreement, there's just no way in hell Dolph Ziggler is even going to pop up on a YouTube pre-show. You got to admit, the writing is on the wall right here. It would be very, very right to have Dolph Ziggler cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And just think back to what he had said last week. I believe he had said it on SmackDown, where he had promised that at Hell in a Cell, no matter what, he was going to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he guaranteed that he was going to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. So now, folks, the question becomes, well, who will win this World Heavyweight Championship match between Big Show and Sheamus? You know what? I have Sheamus really being able to dig down deep. I think he's going to go to a place that he has never been before with the Big Show. And I think Sheamus is going to really dig down deep. It's going to be a ugly brawl. That I can assure you. We're going to see some really hard-hitting heavy-duty stuff. We're really going to see Sheamus take things to another level, I feel. But at the same time, it's really going to be very draining for Sheamus. But I got Sheamus actually picking up the win over Big Show. However, post-match, I do see Dolph Ziggler coming out, cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase, and becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. And you know what, folks? It is so fitting that Dolph Ziggler becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, because he's going to have his hot cougar lady girlfriend, Vicky Guerrero, who is not officially the Raw general manager, but she is the Raw managing supervisor. And when you have somebody like that in your back pocket, you're going to be going a little bit of a ways. So I am just looking at how things are going right now, considering everything that we've seen within recent weeks. Dolph Ziggler, this will be his moment this Sunday. You know, if WWE does not take this opportunity to capitalize on it and have Dolph Ziggler win the World Heavyweight Championship at the pay-per-view, folks, I got to be really honest with you. I'm not really sure when the next moment could come at a better time for Dolph Ziggler. Now, if the moment doesn't happen this Sunday, then it's possible that maybe, just maybe, Dolph Ziggler may have his sights set on early 2013 to be able to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. Moving right along, though, let's go on ahead and let's talk about that main event match of the night, folks, which sees the WWE Champion CM Punk defending his championship against Mr. Feed Me More. Feed Me More. Feed Me More. Mr. Ryback, folks. And we have seen such a really great build for Ryback within recent weeks. What can you say about this man who really, when you think about it, when he was Shep Skempfield or whatever the heck that name is, the last time go around he was in the WWE and he got injured, you know, it was a real blessing in disguise when you really think about it, because there was a case right there where WWE, they could have just gave up on this guy and that could have been the end of it. He could have been wrestling in the independent circuit, or maybe be misproperly utilized down in TNA wrestling or some other indie wrestling promotion, but that wasn't the case. He was determined to come back better than ever, and talk about a blessing in disguise that that injury had happened to him. You fast forward now, and here he is packaged as Ryback. And this guy is a really nice throwback to wrestlers such as Goldberg, The Ultimate Warrior. He's a nice throwback to guys like Hulk Hogan. He's a nice throwback to guys like Brock Lesnar. A nice throwback to guys like Batista, Ken Shamrock. I just really am loving this guy right now. And on the biggest stage of them all, he is really going to have to prove himself. Now, we have seen John Cena. We've seen CM Punk go out of their way to give this guy great praise. And I know a lot of people, they have just really felt alienated by this sudden rise, especially seasoned WWE veterans. But as we all have been able to tell, this guy is just really hot right now. This guy, his stock is just on the rise. And I mean, what we've been seeing from Ryback within recent weeks, it's really hard to not want to root for this guy. I mean, he's just been that damn impressive. It just seems like week after week after week, this guy has just been getting more and more confident in himself and his ability, and it's just really been showing. Very rare do we see Ryback have a little bit of a slip up in the ring, or botched moves, as a lot of people will like to call them. You know, when you really think about it, this guy has had some type of affiliation with wrestling really since 2004, when he had went through Tough Enough, and then eventually he had went through the Deep South Wrestling, and then he went on down to Ohio Valley Wrestling. You know, the guy, he's been around in wrestling for a good minute now, and you know, he's had plenty of time to work with a lot of great people, and I really, really feel that we are going to be in for a treat when it comes to this match between Ryback and CM Punk. Now, the real question remains, just how exactly is CM Punk going to be able to retain his WWE Championship? A lot of people, they have offered their ideas on this match. A lot of people, they would be so quick to point out that maybe Brock Lesnar could interfere in this match and try to help CM Punk get a retain. But as we had discussed on the RCWR show this past weekend, that's just something that can't happen. Now, we did point out on the RCWR show weekend edition last Saturday, myself and the lovely co-producer Tammy, we were shooting ideas, and I know one of the ideas that was put out there, and it's an error on my part, and I humbly apologize to those of you that had heard it, as me and co-producer Tammy, we both messed up. It had came from co-producer Tammy's mouth, but I should have been able to just correct her right there on the spot, and we unfortunately had got dealt with some serious heat by a couple of fans, which was the lovely co-producer Tammy pointing out that maybe in some type of form the match between CM Punk and Ryback could end in a disqualification. Now, as we all know from WWE Hell in a Cell history, there unfortunately is no way you can get a DQ in these type of matches. So we humbly apologize for that little slip up that you guys have heard on the air. And you know, it's really no fault to co-producer Tammy, because unfortunately she hasn't been a long-time wrestling fan like myself and probably many of you that have been watching the sport for many years. And quite honestly, we were just involved in just a great conversation, a number of topics that we were talking on the show. So we humbly apologize that that slip had came about, but without a doubt, unfortunately, the match cannot end on a DQ. However, there could be some really great controversy involved in this match. Now, if I was booking this right, the way I would do this match, I would actually have CM Punk beat the living crap out of Ryback in a backstage segment, which will be a running gag throughout the whole night of the pay-per-view, which is, oh my God, Ryback, he was beat up by the WWE champion so severely. Is it even possible that Ryback might be able to have his match with the WWE champion? Well, maybe we'll know something later in the night. Now, keep in mind, folks, that John Cena had revealed on Monday Night Raw that he was not cleared in time to have his match against CM Punk because the doctors, they told him basically he wasn't 100%. They couldn't clear him for Sunday's pay-per-view. But John Cena revealed on Monday that the doctors told him he's now 100% cleared. So we could have a little bit of a shocker right here. Now, if I was booking this right, I would actually have, like I said, CM Punk attack Ryback, create that illusion that the main event match could be in jeopardy. Then when it comes main event time, we could see the WWE champion CM Punk. He could be chilling right there, and he's thinking that the match isn't going to happen. And maybe we could see the WWE chairman come out and say, unfortunately, Ryback is not going to be able to have this match against CM Punk. However, CM Punk, you'll still be defending the WWE Championship tonight, and it's going to be against, drumroll please, John Cena. So this takes CM Punk completely by surprise. He has no choice but to do this match against John Cena. And you know for a fact that when you get John Cena and CM Punk together, it's going to be freaking money. You're going to have a very solid contest between these two. But when it's all said and done, I've got CM Punk retaining his WWE Championship. Now, that's one scenario that could play out. Another scenario that could play out is that a beat-up Ryback could come out and still do this match one-on-one against CM Punk. But in either case, CM Punk could still walk away the WWE Champion because of the damage that he did to Ryback prior. Now, some people, they'll sit up and they'll say to themselves, can Ryback really be afforded a loss, his first loss ever, since being in the WWE as Ryback, and just where exactly will he go from there? Well, they could always build back up another streak, but nothing is going to be more impressive than what he's been doing this time around. Folks, it's a really tough one right here. I know one other idea that I had came up with is that CM Punk, he could work this match with Ryback in a way it looks as though CM Punk has it in the bank that he's going to retain, and then Ryback all of a sudden starts getting back on the offense and is just throwing CM Punk off. And for the first time in Hell in a Cell history, we could see a scenario occur where CM Punk, he could just try to grab his WWE Championship, leave, but Vince McMahon, a few guys from the WWE roster, they come out, they're trying to make sure that he stays in that arena, that he continues on with that match, and he has it against Ryback. And we could try to maybe see CM Punk try to leave the arena altogether to avoid getting his ass handed to him. But you know, when it's all said and done, despite all those different scenarios, I still see the WWE Champion CM Punk leaving hot Atlanta, Georgia, still your WWE Champion. What I am predicting, there's going to be some really interesting curveballs. There's going to be some shenanigans happening in this match. You can rest assured of that. Some stuff is going to happen. There's going to be some really great shock value that's going to occur in this contest. That I assure you. But when it's all said and done, CM Punk is going to remain the WWE Champion. And that's how I'm looking at it, folks. So let's recap. Let's take it up from the very top, and we'll work our way back down. So, as I said earlier, I'm getting the vibe here that Antonio Cesaro will be making some type of a title defense, possibly on the YouTube pre-show. I'm calling it first here. If that scenario occurs, I got Cesaro retaining. In our next match, Randy Orton taking on Alberto Del Rio. I have Alberto Del Rio defeating Randy Orton. For the WWE Tag Team Championships, I have Team Hell No beating Team Rhodes Scholars to retain their Tag Championship belts. For the Intercontinental Championship match between Kofi Kingston and The Miz, I have Kofi Kingston picking up a retain. For the World Heavyweight Championship match, I have Sheamus picking up a title defense over Big Show. Again, I have Sheamus retaining, but I have Dolph Ziggler cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And in the main event match of the night, which sees CM Punk taking on Ryback inside a Hell in a Cell steel cage match for the WWE Championship. It's going to be a lot of shenanigans in this match. It's going to be a lot of shock value that's going to come in this contest. But when it's all said and done, CM Punk will retain, and he will continue being one of the current longest reigning WWE champions. And that is how I'm looking at it, folks.